Hey, Geometry Gurus. Unit 4, Day 2. I just realized that you guys probably don't have your notes packets, or some of you may not have notes packets yet, because I haven't figured out how to get them to you. That's okay. Just have a compass and straight edge and some blank paper, and you can pick up the notes and the understanding of the concepts, but you can just make your own diagrams and drawings and practice the constructions, even though it's not exactly the same diagram as what I have. You can just make a diagram that's similar and practice how to do the constructions on your own paper. All right, so we'll get right into it, and hopefully this works. So if you're given, okay, pause the video, draw a diagram that looks similar to what I have, and then what we're going to do is figure out how to find the center of dilation. If the dilation is shown, but you don't know where the center of dilation is, I'm going to show you how to find it. So pause the video, copy this diagram down on your own paper or something similar to it, and then come back. Okay, so in order to find the center of dilation, you're going to line up the pre-image with the image. So I'm going to line up A prime and A. Now remember that A and A prime, you know which one's the original, which one's the image, and which one is the pre-image based on their markings and how they're labeled with A to A prime. So our dilation, you also can tell that our dilation got smaller because if you look at triangle ABC versus triangle A prime, B prime, C prime, the image is smaller than the pre-image. So we know that our scale factor, well, we'll get to that in a second. We know about our scale factor, and that also means that the direction of our center of dilation is going to be off to the left. When I connect A to A prime and C to C prime, where our two lines intersect is our center of dilation, and we are supposed to label that point P. So there's our center of dilation. We do not need to do B and B prime because they will also go through point P. You only need 2 out of the 3 segments that connect image to pre-image, and where those segments connect to each other, then that is your center of dilation. The ratio of the sides that we could use, like we talked about in the last lesson, we always have to write our ratio as image divided by pre-image. So there's several different ways we can write this. We could write A prime B prime over AB, B prime C prime over BC, A prime C prime over AC. And don't forget, we can also do A prime P over AP, C prime P over CP, and B prime P over BP if we wanted to do it that way. All 6 of those different ratios would all lead to the same scale factor. Speaking of scale factors, would we expect our scale factor to be greater than 1 or in between 0 and 1? Since our dilation ended up in a figure smaller than the original, then we would know that our scale factor would have to be in between 0 and 1 because our shape, the triangle, reduced in size, got smaller. All right? So again, you don't have the notes to fill this in, but you understand the concept that if the shape gets smaller, it's a scale factor between 0 and 1. So for each dilation that we have done so far, the center of dilation has been a point out in space, not attached to the figure. Today we're going to dilate from points that are part of the image we are dilating. So next thing to draw on your picture is just a line segment, label it AB. Pause the video, draw it, come back. We're going to dilate AB by a scale factor of 2, centered at A. All right, so A is going to be the center of our dilation, and it's the end point of our segment. So notation purposes, it would be a dilation through point A of a scale factor of 2. So to do this, I'm going to put my straight edge on A, line it up towards B, just like we did yesterday, and I'm going to connect them and draw a line, which means I'm going to extend that. Then I need to mark off A to B, because A is the center of dilation, so I have to measure A to B. Unfortunately, I covered up where B was. So I'm going to measure A to B. little tricks of using a smartboard. That is considered 1. So if it was a dilation of 1, it would be the same segment. B wouldn't move, but that is 1, and we're doing a scale factor of 2, so I'm going to take my compass and do a second mark, and now I know where B prime is, and now AB prime is twice as long as AB, scale factor of 2 complete. So the ratio of our segments would be AB prime over AB, and the value of this ratio, because our scale factor was 2, will be 2. All right, so now I want you to draw another segment, AB. We're going to do a scale factor of 3 centered at B this time. So we're going to do a scale factor of 3 centered at B. So pause the video, go ahead and try it, and then come back. Just so you know, when you are done, or before you start, whatever you want to do, label with the proper notation: dilation, centered at B, scale factor of 3. So why don't you pause, do it, and then come back, and we'll check to make sure our diagrams match. And so, of course, my diagram goes off the page, but we're measuring from B this time towards A, and we're measuring B to A and marking it off 3 times. Remember, from B to A does count as 1. That would be if our scale factor was 1. So there's 1 here, 2, and then 3 puts me off my page. Hopefully yours is not off the page. So the ratio of the segments, it's going to be B to A prime this time over BA. And then the value of that ratio is the same as our scale factor, so that's going to be equal to 3. All right, so now, I mentioned the other day when you watched video 1 that it is possible to have a scale factor that is a negative, and it pushes the point in the opposite direction of the center of dilation. The notation won't change, so if we're doing a dilation through point A of -1, that means point A is our center of dilation. I line up A to B, but because the scale factor is negative, my image will end up in the opposite direction as the original point. So that means I need to take my straight edge and extend AB in the opposite direction. So when I measure from A to B, I'm going to still mark my length from A, but because it is a negative scale factor, I'm going to mark it in the opposite direction. And of course it's off the page. Oh, you know what? I'll fix that. I zoom. That did not fix it. So anyways, point B prime should be off to the left. The ratio would still be AB prime over AB, and it will be -1 for the value of that ratio. The difference will be the direction. So A to B prime would go in the opposite direction as our original point B. Okay, so now on your paper, I want you to draw a triangle, ABC. We're going to dilate this triangle by a scale factor of 2, centered at point C. The proper notation for our dilation uses a capital D. Our center is point C. Our scale factor is 2. So what we're going to do is put our straight edge on point C, line it up to go through A, so I can extend C to A. And I'm going to use my compass to make the distance from C to A twice as big. The distance from C to A, remember, does count as 1. Our dilation of scale factor 1 would put A right back where it is. And then scale factor 2 just means I mark it a second time. So now I know where A prime is located. I will follow the same process and steps through point B. Measure from C to B. There's 1. There's 2. There's B prime. And then when I connect, I now have a new triangle. Same angle measures, but side lengths twice as big. Side lengths twice as big as the original. So what ratio of sides could be used to represent the scale factor? Remember, we have to do image over pre-image. So CA prime over CA is one option. CB prime over CB is another option. The value of this ratio would equal 2 because our scale factor was 2. We could also do A prime B prime over AB as a third option for the ratio. But the ratio is the comparison. Pre-image is on the bottom, image is on the top. So image divided by pre-image. Image over pre-image. All right, so let's shrink this one. We're going to do a scale factor of 4. In order to do a scale factor, I'm sorry, not 4, 1/4. In order to do a scale factor of 1/4, we are going to bisect it twice. All right, so we're going to do the midpoint of the midpoint, and that will give us a dilation of 1/4. So a half twice is a quarter. 2 halves is a quarter. Well, 1/2 times 1/2. All right, so we want to do a scale factor centered at B. So we have to think about this logically. I know how to get the midpoint. I need to make sure my compass is open more than halfway from one end to the other. Mark my arcs, both sides of my segments, from both endpoints of the segments. 2 sets of intersecting arcs will create 2 points that I can connect. Connecting those 2 points and finding where that segment crosses my original line will give me my first midpoint. But here's the thing. You got to be careful with what next midpoint you find. So that point that I find is halfway between A and B. That would be a scale factor of 1/2. Our center of dilation is B. That means point B does not move. Point A is the A that's moving. It has to be a scale factor of 1/4. 1/4 of the distance. The point that we have marked off is half the distance. So the next midpoint I need is going to be in between the midpoint I just found and point B. If I needed to go 3/4 of the way, I would do the midpoint on the other side, closer to A. But since I'm doing 1/4, I'm going closer to the center of dilation, so that means closer to point B. And when I connect those, that's the midpoint of the midpoints that I'm finding. That is now A prime. So I have the distance from A prime to B is 1/4 of the original distance from A to B. The ratio, a bunch of different ratios we could use. A prime to B over AB, B prime to C, once I find C prime, to BC. The value of this ratio is going to be 1/4 because that is the same as our scale factor. All right, so pause your video, go ahead, find C prime, and then when you're ready, we're done. Once you finish that, then you're done. Oh, we did that in under 2. Oh. Hang on. You there? Maybe not. Oh, still there. Sorry about that. We did all that in under 15 minutes. So, well done. You'll get your notes soon if you don't have them yet. Be safe, take care, good luck, and Hopefully we'll get through this together.